glimpse into what life without him would be like.
A Disciple's View with Todd Herman. Critical information from a faith-enriching perspective. Weekdays at noon Central on AFR.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments about whether President Trump can restrict birthright citizenship through an executive order. U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer argues the 14th Amendment was only meant to apply to those who had an allegiance to the country.
The clause thus does not extend citizenship to the children of temporary visa holders or illegal aliens. Unlike the newly freed slaves, those visitors lack direct and immediate allegiance to the United States.
The Trump administration is arguing illegal aliens do not have allegiance to the U.S., and so, like enemies of the U.S. or ambassadors, their children should not automatically get citizenship. Chief Justice John Roberts questions whether that comparison holds up.
I'm not quite sure how you can get to that big group from such tiny and sort of idiosyncratic examples.
Debate over funding for DHS has stalled again as lawmakers are on a 2-week recess, though airport lines have improved after TSA workers started receiving paychecks again. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he wants ICE agents to remain at airports to help until staffing returns to normal.
Tom Homan, Mark Wayne Mullen is smart to say, we're going to use every resource we have to make sure that every American system works as well as possible. We're not a third world nation.
About 500 TSA officers have quit since the partial shutdown began, and it could take months to train their replacements. A journalist from the United States was captured while in Baghdad. Greg Palcott has the latest.
An American journalist was kidnapped Tuesday in Baghdad, and Iraqi security forces are seeking her captors, officials say. The reporter was identified as freelancer Shelley Kittleson by the Al Monitor Mideast news site, one of the outlets she works for. A U.S. official blamed an Iran-backed Iraqi militia. Authorities say 2 cars were involved in the kidnapping. One crashed while being chased southwest of Baghdad. The journalist was then transferred to a second car. While Kittleson has filed frequently from the region, she was not on assignment at the time. The State Department said it had warned her of threats and is working for her release. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
A bill that would criminalize so-called hate speech has passed the House of Commons and headed to the Canadian Senate for a vote. It removes protections for religious speech, meaning if a pastor preaches on biblical sexuality, for example, he could go to prison. Steve Jordahl reports.
Bill C-9, known as the Combating Hate Act, cancels an existing religious protection that allows for opinions based on a religious text. It's the latest assault on religious freedom in Canada, a battle that has seen Calgary pastor Artur Pawlowski in prison several times over the years, including during the COVID pandemic. He spoke this week to Canadian pastors and had a sobering message for them.
For me, it's, regular day in the office, if you will, but you should be worried. Because if you are not trained to fight, to stand, you're going to cave just like you did during the COVID era. 99.9% of the churches closed, pastors caved in, they broke, they panicked, they were terrified. Courage is almost unheard of in our Canadian churches.
Pawlowski sees Bill C-9 as another opportunity for Canadian churches to rise to the occasion.
Now we have a second test. And that test, I pray and I hope that the church will pass, because if we will not, some more tests are coming.
He says he has his doubts as to whether the Canadian church will pass this test. He has no doubt about his response.
I want you to know I have absolutely no intention of stopping what I'm doing. I'll preach the whole Bible from the Genesis to the Revelations. I will not bend my knee to the golden image of Nebuchadnezzar.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
And finally, a crane malfunction in Illinois leaves 1 worker dead.
Police in Carroll Stream in west suburban Chicago say a 55-year-old worker at Specialty Rolled Metals was lifting a giant spool of metal onto a flatbed truck Tuesday when the overhead crane that he was using somehow broke. The giant metal roll came down on top of the worker, who we're told later died of his injuries. Police are investigating the death as non-criminal. OSHA is also conducting a separate investigation. That employee has not been identified. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
For more than 150 years, Blue Mountain Christian University has been committed to educating students through a Christian worldview rooted in Scripture and truth. Our close-knit campus community, affordable degree options, and dedicated faculty prepare students for lives of faith, leadership, and service. With on-campus and online programs, BMCU meets students where they are without compromising what matters most. Learn more at bmc.edu and move mountains with Blue Mountain Christian University.
We inform.
Religious freedom is about people of faith being able to live out their faith, live out their convictions, no matter where they are.
We equip.
Sacred honor is the courage to speak truth, to live out your free speech.
We also rejoice in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope.
This is At the Core on American Family Radio.
Welcome to The Core here on American Family Radio. Glad to have you with us here on the program. Walker Wildmon here on this edition of the show. Glad to have you with us. We have the show available in the form of a podcast each and every afternoon. You can simply go to your podcast library, type in the name of the program At the Core, which is hosted by myself and Rick Green, and you can subscribe to the latest episode there in your podcast library. We've also got the video up on Facebook and all the major social media platforms, including stream.afa.net, stream.afa.net. Well, turning our attention to the scripture, John chapter 20 is where we are this week. And you're looking down in verse 11 through 15, or 11 through 15, we have Mary Magdalene, that is, going to the tomb looking for Jesus. And she looks in the tomb, sees two angels in white sitting, one at the end, this is verse 12, at the head and the other at the feet where the body of Jesus had lain, past tense. Verse 13, then they said to the woman, "Why are you weeping?" She responded to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have lain him." Verse 14, now when she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there and did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" And of course, Jesus has appeared to Mary Magdalene here. And there's other parts of Scripture that talk about Jesus' appearance after his resurrection. Over 500, the Scripture says, Jesus appeared to after his resurrection, before his ascension. And so as we celebrate Easter this week, let's be reminded that the core truth that is part of the Easter message is that Jesus defeated death. Jesus conquered death and was the fulfillment of our, was the